Wolves and dogs are closely related, and they can even produce fertile offspring. But wolves may also see dogs as competitors or even as prey. So in what situations can a wolf be dangerous to a dog? When asking this question, it's important that we don't let emotions guide us, but instead look at what science already tells us. Only by focusing on the facts can we take the right precautions to prevent encounters between wolves and dogs. That's why in this podcast I'm talking with two scientists who have each been working on this topic for many years in their own way. Ilpo Kojola is a Finnish research professor emeritus at the Natural Resources Institute Finland, where he focuses on the ecology of large carnivores. His expertise includes monitoring large carnivore populations, developing monitoring methods, studying their ecology, and understanding human-carnivore conflicts. He has conducted extensive research on wolves and dogs. And Luigi Boitani, one of Europe's most experienced wolves ecologists. Since 1972, he has dedicated his work to the ecology and conservation of wolves. He has been involved in European policy, scientific research, and recent reports on so-called bold wolf behavior. He is also chair of the Large Carnivore Initiative for Europe and has contributed, together with David Meach, to publications for the International Union for Conservation of Nature, including work related to the Red List of Species. Welcome, Ilpo. Welcome, Luigi. In the literature, wolves following dogs is hardly ever described as its own category. In Sellinger, both last year and this year, a male wolf is following dogs around and even sniffs under their tails. Do you recognize, one of you, this kind of behavior?
For sure, in some rare cases, wolf-dog encounters may lead to pairing. We had a couple of such incidences when wolves were beginning to recolonize Finland. What I have learned is that most often the mates are female wolf and male dog, but of course the mating pair can be a male wolf and female dog too.
Have you heard of it before, Luigi?
Yes, it is quite, I wouldn't say common, but certainly we have observed several cases of male dogs following a female wolf in heat and actually pairing it for the mating season. It wouldn't go longer than the mating season.
We have one incident in Finland where there were a male wolf and a female dog. They had a litter found in middle winter in western Finland, where the first wolves have been moving from east. At that time, wolves had really big difficulties to find conspecifics, other wolves. That's why they were pairing sometimes with dogs as well.
But we also had a case just very close to Rome where a female wolf mated with a large shepherd dog. And then after the mating, they had a litter and the dog continued to live with the female. And actually the pack persisted for at least 3-4 years.
Does that give problems in the sense that the dog is used to humans, so he may teach the pups that humans are not all that scary?
Yes, it could happen, of course. As a general message, I would say that we should refrain from making things too simple and schematic. Everything can happen when the wolves and dogs meet. From killing each other to mating to persisting in a pack, continue to live together for long times. All possibilities are actually to be considered regular, let's say so.
If 2 or 3 hybrids which we have now in Finland, they are behaving like genuine wolves. They are no difference
Ilpo, I read your report. Hunting dogs are at biggest risk to get attacked by wolves near wolf territory boundaries, 2019. I have a few questions. Why are hunting dogs so often victims?
In Finland, dogs in hunting situation are unleashed, and that's why they are so often victims.
And almost half of the attacks, around 45%, happen in just a smaller part of the territory, the border zone. How do you explain that?
At the moment, actually, I'm quite skeptical on that result. Whether we could explain this result based on wolves' behavior toward neighboring wolves, like in North America studies, I mean, using territory defense as a causal explanation, as we did, and it may be incorrect. That's because local hunters might know where the core areas of the wolf territories were located, and as a consequence, at least to some extent, avoid the use of dogs in the center of wolf territory.
Could sharing a GPS data of wolves, like you do in Finland, also help in a country like the Netherlands to prevent conflicts?
It might help to some extent, but experience from Finland show that they don't prevent wolf attacks on dogs. Public reference information about the GPS-collared wolves did lower the number of attacks to some extent because hunters did avoid the use of dogs within the 5 by 5 kilometer quadrant where the GPS-collared wolves were located. As you can hear, I'm a little bit skeptical and maybe I'm thinking about how much it could help in Netherlands, but maybe.
Luigi, in Italy, do you inform the public about where wolves are?
Not really, but we don't even make any effort to hide the information. So there is no communication on this. I mean, wolves are everywhere in Italy. So it really wouldn't make much of a difference to communicate where they are, if there is an animal with a radio collars or not.
One of your other reports, Ilpo, wolf attacks on hunting dogs are negatively related to prey abundance in Finland, an analysis at the wolf territory level, 2023. The study shows that wolves attack fewer dogs when there is enough wild prey like deer. Does that mean conflicts with dogs are mainly a food problem?
Yes, somehow in southwest Finland, where attacks on hunting dogs are just occasional. They're very rare. Wolves are enjoying a high density of deer, American origin white-tailed deer, and also roe deer. Densities are higher there. In eastern Finland, instead, where most attacks on hunting dogs take place, moose is usually the only white ungulate. And that prey exists in relatively low densities in Finland. That is not just a food biomass problem. The primary prey is elsewhere outside reindeer region is moose that is big and less easy to catch in compared to deer. For me, it's somehow understandable that in eastern Finland, wolves are motivated to kill a dog that is barking at moose. And by the way, wolf attacks on dogs are rare also in reindeer husbandry area where free-ranging reindeer exist in high densities compared to wild ungulates.
Your research suggests also that wolves sometimes kill dogs as competitors. In the Netherlands, dogs and wolves live close together. We have 1.7 million dogs. Is territorial behavior more likely than food shortage in a country like the Netherlands?
So at first, the wolf's motivation is often to eliminate the potential competitor. But why not have a taste of dog meat? So some wolves may look dogs primarily as a prey, especially whenever wolves have a lot of encounters with unleashed dogs.
I fully agree, and it's very, very difficult to separate cases of competition or predation for food or mating, fighting for a mate. And so again, as I said before, it's difficult to put all these cases in different specific cases very well defined. It's a mix of situations. It also depends very much on the kind of dogs. If you have a small dog or you have a large one, you have an aggressive dog that stands the competition with a wolf, it's one case. If you have animals that run away, they immediately become a prey because something, the wolves would certainly try to chase something that run away. So it is very difficult. We have to think in a very open mind that all possibilities can mix together.
I agree, it's very case dependent.
So far, we've had several incidents in the Netherlands. We now have an increasing wolf population, and we have 1.7 million dogs. Does that go well together?
Certainly, it's just a matter of, it's statistics. With so many dogs, and if you have more wolves, the possibilities of encounters increase. I can easily predict that the number of encounters will increase, and so possibly the case of dogs being killed will increase, for sure. But that's just a matter of numbers.
I agree. I think that will happen, but maybe not in a straight linear way if people begin to protect their dogs. I will speak about this aspect in the light of Finnish experiences later.
Interactions between wolves and dogs in Finland, 2004, was research from you, Ilpo. The study describes wolves sometimes deliberately going into yards and gardens to kill dogs. How unusual is that behavior, really? And if the dog aren't eaten, do we know the motivation for the behavior? So why do wolves go into yards close to humans to kill dogs?
We have actually quite few cases where wolves or wolf packs are repeatedly or frequently going to house yards killing dogs. But in that study where there were only six wolf territories, we compared attacks and dogs, and there was one particular pack who did that. We couldn't find any logic reason how they were so different from the other 5 packs, but one explanation, what we didn't mention in the paper, was that there was not adult male in that pack. And that pack was all the time tracked by hunters, so it was more or less disturbed by humans. That offer one explanation.
You had them radio collared, which is why you knew where they were going. Yeah.
Yeah.
If wolves come that close to buildings, can we say that they're losing fear of humans, or do they only do it in nighttime?
Only in nighttime.
Wolves are intelligent animals, very adaptive. So they quickly learn. If there is a possibility of coming anywhere without risking anything, they will do it. So we should not really be astonished by seeing wolves close to humans. Why not? Why not? If there is anything to eat, they will come. And when they will come? When it's less dangerous for them, probably at night. That's an old story. In Italy, people used to say, in winter time, the wolves come down from the mountains and close to the village. Why would they say so? Because in winter time, there is a snow in the village and people see the track. But actually, the wolves, once we radio tracking the wolves, we found that they come to the village every night, summer and winter. So they come down. Why not? And there is something to eat, they will grab it. And if this something is a dog, they will do it. And so the worst you can do, in fact, in the mountains in Abruzzo, in Italy, nobody does it, is to put a dog on a chain. If you put a dog on a chain outside your house all night, that is kind of offering food to the wolf, because the dog cannot run away, cannot defend himself because it's on a chain, and the wolf will come and kill it. So the best you can do is just take the dog inside the house and to protect it. So the wolves would come down and sniff around and then just leave without finding anything.
I watched some of the videos on YouTube where wolves come into yards and kill dogs. And some people say that animals can't fake. If I look at some of these videos, I see a wolf faking he is friendly. That's the way he approaches the dog, in a sort of friendly manner. And then when he's really close, all of a sudden grabs the dog, never lets go. Do you agree with me that they fake the behavior?
I have heard about these cases from hunters. It can happen, and it's happening sometimes, I guess. Just wolves are like attracting ducks to come closer at the edge of the forest.
If wolves come close, do they see our village and gardens as hunting grounds if they come in and take our pet animals?
As Luigi described earlier, wolves are innovative, smart opportunists. So they can find food in residential area without risks. In Dutch wolves are mostly coming from Germany, and there in Germany they have used to live in highly anthropogenic landscapes. So they know quite well already how to play with humans and human activities. My own 25 years old prediction was that wolves cannot ever colonize southwestern Finland, because human density, it's just too high there. And I was totally wrong. And some people are still reminding me about that failure. More than 50% of Finnish wolves are living there, enjoying the high prey abundance, and also human shelter against poaching, because poaching is the eastern Brob, where there's quite low human densities and so on.
Well, in one of the other podcasts, Luigi, you said, why not, if people mentioned, can wolves come to the center of Amsterdam? You said, why not?
Sure. What I'm suggesting probably is that why don't we change the word hunting ground? Because wolves do not necessarily hunt. I would say foraging ground, so they can find something to eat without hunting. Much better word.
If you have a wolf that is recognized, the individual wolf by DNA, for example, so what should one do with wolf that comes into yards? Or is it just a responsibility from the people living there that shouldn't let their dog out?
Exactly. If you live in a country, in a wolf country, you should take a prevention measure. Take your dog in-house, away from the possibility of a wolf chasing it. It's your responsibility. That's the only prevention measure you can do.
Yes, from the Finnish point of view, the people in Finland have tall fences in house yards. The fences made of strong metal, or they take dogs indoors for night. And the incidences in house yards are remarkably less common nowadays than 20 years ago. But of course, if the dog's primary role is house guarding at night, something else should be invented.
We have a lot of cats as well in the Netherlands. Are they prey as well?
Very easy prey. Wolves love to kill cats, like dogs.
So ideally, one should keep one's cat inside for the night as well.
Oh, yes.
There was the study Human Decision Making as a Key Factor in the Risk of Wolf-Dog Interactions During Outdoor Activities. And the study shows that the further a dog is from its owner, the higher the risk of interaction with wolves. So the main thing every dog owner has to do is to keep the dog on the leash in wolf area.
Yes.
I agree.
If you keep it on a leash and close to you, then the dog is much, much safer, because the wolves are afraid of humans.
Some wolves in the Netherlands are not afraid. They come close to even a dog on the lead. Then what? Then you shouldn't walk in that area, or what?
I find it difficult to answer a question that without knowing the context. So the answer changes depending on the local context, which goes from removing the wolf, that is obviously too confident, to actually taking prevention measure like keeping the dog close to you. And so there are a range of responses depending on the context.
I read a report, Identification of Hotspots and Variables Associated with Lethal Wolf-Dog Interactions, January 2025. You were involved, Ilpo. And what amazed me is that all the contradictions in the report.
Oh, this is so much case dependent. For example, Finland, what is one example about the case where the wolf population size increase. I can explain what has happened. During this century in Finland, annual number of attacks have about doubled from 2025 to 40 to 50 killed dogs. And same time, wolf population size have increased from 100 to 500. And I think two changes in Finnish situation. First, when wolves started to recolonize Finland in the mid-90s, first easternmost Finland, people were not prepared to the return of wolves, and wolves did kill many dogs in house yards. Probably those wolves have been well trained to kill dogs in Russia from where they moved, where feral dogs or stray dogs and unleashed dogs are very abundant. But now it's different in Finland. Local people in eastern Finland do protect their wolves in house yards much better. And another explanation is that wolf expanded to southwest Finland, where deer density is high and attacks on dogs very rare. And that's the Finnish case. So the attacks have been increasing quite mildly compared to the full population.
That sounds logic. Do you want to say something about it, Luigi?
The study that you are referring to is the best example of what I mentioned earlier, that the outcome of an encounter between wolves and dogs is very much depending on the context. So we cannot generalize very much.
I'm trying to reassure some people in the Netherlands about the problem. So one critical question, could it be that countries where damage by wolves is compensated, that they have more reports, making the problem seem bigger than it actually is?
Hard to say, because first of all, compensation is paid almost everywhere, but with different rules. So in certain areas, it is fully compensated. Some other areas, it's a condition to the use of prevention measure. So again, it's very, very difficult to compare data on conflict and on compensation across countries, and even within a country. Sometimes you have different regions or provinces doing different rules. And so it's very, very difficult to compare. The only thing that you can do is to use the same data from the same country, the same place throughout the time, so that you can compare in time. That is a useful information, but I wouldn't go beyond that.
I would say that full compensation associated public studies we have in Finland draw more attention on the issue in public, and probably get many people to regard the problem bigger than it actually is. But on the other hand, I think that people should have an open access to the statistics, for example, to restrain conspiracy theories, etc., about managers or regimes' policy to downplay the problem. People should know as much as possible, I think.
What do we still truly not know about wolf-dog interactions, and what should be the most important follow-up research?
I would say that every country should have its own research program on this. Then locally, you can have different questions to be answered by research. In certain areas, you have to focus on the ecology of the wolves. In some other areas, you better focus on the behavior of the owners of the dogs. So, completely different topics. So depending on the local situation, you may have different research and different questions that need to be answered.
Yes, and because, as Luigi said, it's very context specific. But for example, some special questions could be whenever wolves are born in the pack, as killing dogs, whether there's some over-generation shifts in the risk in the behaviors. And then, of course, we don't know enough how much affecting their status of pack, whether it's viable family pack or pair or single wolf and so on. We have some preliminary impression that wolf pairs had just established in the area, forming new territory. They might be very effective or active to killing dogs in the new area.
What I found interesting is wolves in your country, Finland, came from Russia, where they were used to killing feral dogs.
Yeah.
Which is different probably from the wolves coming into the Netherlands who come from Germany, where there's not a lot of feral dogs going about. Do you have a lot of feral dogs in Italy, Luigi?
Many, let's call them free-ranging dogs, because it's a mix of stray ones, feral ones, And also many dogs that have an owner, but the owner just let them free. And this is especially common in the areas where the climate is milder, like in central southern Italy. Much of the outcome of this interaction depends also on the breed of dogs. You see, in most of the free-ranging dogs in the central southern Apennines in Italy, for example, are large guarding dogs. And if they are in a group of 2, 4, 5, 6 or 7, whatever, well, that's not so easy for a wolf to kill them, you know. So again, it depends on the breed, the numbers and the context, the geography and everything else.
Sounds logic.
From Russian Karelia, where there's some 300,000 people living, wolves do kill more 100 dogs per year. And there, villages dogs who are unleashed are very, very abundant.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
You mentioned, Ilpo, that when wolves first came to Finland, lots of dogs were killed. People had to learn how to defend their dogs, how to make the yard wolf-proof and to keep dogs on the leash. Do you think countries where the wolves are for the first time, like the Netherlands, do people underestimate it or overestimate the danger? What is general, you think?
In Finland, first years after the return of wolves, people did underestimate the risk, but quite soon they learned. It took many years anyhow, maybe from 5 to 10 years. They built it up effective tall fences in the house yards for dogs and so on.
And how is that in Italy at the moment, Luigi? Do people protect their dogs enough?
No, they don't. And in fact, there are some casualties here and there. I don't think that the presence of wolves has changed the behavior of people very much.
I must say that I've been looking at dog owners in the area here where I live, because we have this wolf which is following dogs around, and the local government has said, keep the dog on the leash, be aware of that you're walking in wolf area. And it amazes me, people just let the dog roam free. And then we're talking about small dogs, and somehow people won't understand the danger.
They don't understand, or they take the risk. The role of the authorities is actually to warn the people, to teach them what to do, and that's it. And then if people want to still run on the highway of 200 kilometers per hour, you can't do much more.
Are there successful policy measures from countries like Finland or Italy that could also work in the Netherlands? What can politicians do about it?
I think that the information campaigns about the risks and protection measures and so on are very influential, at least in Finland.
Yeah, the same in Italy. I think information is all you can do. And it's never enough. Correct information, by the way, fighting fake news and all that sort of things.
If you want to say something to the public in the Netherlands, what would you say to them?
I would say protect your dogs as well as possible if you are in the wolf area, if you're in the wolf home range. It's good to be proactive this way, because wolves are expanding and increasing in Netherlands, as they have been doing in Germany and France and many other countries in Europe.
Okay, thank you. Luigi, do you want to add something to that?
Not really much more than we have already said. I think there is a responsibility from the central authority, which could be national or provincial, and that is to have a plan. The plan is necessary because it gives certainty to the people. So the people know exactly, it defines the framework within which you have to move. So there must be a clear plan from the authorities and ways of enforcing the plan itself. But then there is the individual responsibility of the people who have to behave consistently within that framework. And that is following a set of rules, as we said earlier, keeping the dog in a certain way and keeping your behavior when you take a walk in a forest in a certain way and so on. So sharing the responsibility between the different players is very, very important. And that should be made very, very clear. Otherwise, we continue accusing each other without really resolving anything.
Nice last words. Ilpo, thank you. Luigi, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.